So a quick Facebook Live today about when should you think about firing someone? That's never an easy thing to do, is it? I'm sure all of us, we all prefer hiring rather than firing. If you prefer firing, then there's probably something wrong with you. You're a little bit evil if you enjoy doing that. But unfortunately, if you're the business owner, then there are going to be times when you have to fire people for the good of the company and, of course, for your own benefit and your own sanity. So, what sort of things, what type of things would you have to think about before having to let someone go? What would make you have to let someone go? Well, I'll give you an example. I was just talking to one of my clients. We'll call him John. Now, John, on our coaching call this month, he seemed really drained. Hey, someone's just saying hi. Let me say hi back. Nice to have you. I don't know who you are, so if you want to comment on this, then feel free to click the link, and then I'll know who's on. So let's go back to John. So I was talking to John today, and he seemed really drained when he was on the call with me, and I could see it all over his face. And this is really unusual because John he's pretty bubbly and he's full of energy, and he just wasn't his usual self. So when I poked a little bit deeper with John, I asked him if he was all right, and it turned out that actually he had a site foreman that was just not pulling his weight, and it was really getting John down. Now, usually John, he visits his sites, 1 to 2 times per week, but now he was having to go to his sites every single day that this foreman was on. He just couldn't trust the foreman to deliver the work right on site, and he couldn't trust the foreman to drive the workers to complete the project. So John was finding that his projects were continually falling behind, and even worse, the foreman wasn't answering client emails. So the client was going days on end before John had to step in and answer the email himself. So really, really embarrassing for John. So this really put John in a difficult spot. He really liked the foreman. The foreman was a nice guy, but his performance wasn't good enough. So what was he going to do? Well, on our coaching call, John decided that he'd finally had enough and he was going to have to fire his site foreman. Difficult decision. So you might be sitting there now thinking, well, that's a little bit harsh, isn't it? Surely, just getting rid of him like that. But I just need to caveat that with John had really trained this site foreman well. He'd spent a lot of time with him. And before he took on the role, he outlined to this site foreman exactly what was required of him. He had to get the jobs running on time. He had to drive the guys on site. He had to communicate with the clients. And to top it off, he was actually paying the site foreman really good money to do that job. So it really wasn't harsh or unfair. In fact, if John hadn't have taken that step to fire this site foreman, can you think of the negative effect that would have had on John's business? Well, firstly, it would have been really demotivating for the rest of the staff, wouldn't it, if that site foreman had stayed? If you're a worker on site and you see that the site foreman isn't even performing, then why are you going to be motivated as a worker, as a tradesperson, to go and deliver on a great project if your site foreman can't be bothered? And secondly, it was bad for John's clients. This site foreman wasn't returning calls, which meant clients were getting angry and frustrated at the communication, and they were taking it out on John. So that was the second reason he had to go. And third, it was just bad for John himself. His time now as the director, it was now being sucked up as he was having to cover 2 jobs. He had to be the director of the business, and now he was being a site foreman, which he was paying someone else to do. And this was really stressing John out. And not only that, he was losing money on the projects because the projects were overrunning due to this foreman. So sometimes you have to be prepared to cut off the dead wood in your company before it infects the entire business. You got to get rid of it. So John was really making the right call. Now, granted, it would mean some short-term pain. We know that, as John had to find a replacement. Yeah, that's painful. It's going to be some short-term pain while he finds someone else. But long-term, John is going to be in a much stronger position. So think about that. If you've got people in your business, don't keep them on endlessly if you know they're the wrong person in your business. Sometimes we can, keep people on out of loyalty, or just because we feel bad about letting people go. But sometimes the hard decisions have to be made. They have to be made for the benefit of your company, for your workers, and of course, yourself. Hope that helps.